Hello and welcome to today's Just Chopsing Podcast. And today with David and myself, we have the legendary American rock bass player, Marco Mendoza. How are you doing, man?
I'm really good. How are you, Terry and David? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're good there. You did a good job there. Remember our names.
Yes. I have a few cells left still.
Oh, right, okay.
From the 70s and the 80s, yeah.
I'm going to ask you a quick question a minute before David starts off.
Yes, sir.
Because this will probably throw him right off. I saw that for your book you were doing pages of selfies.
Yes.
Right, now I bet you there's one selfie in there because I don't think I've ever seen you and John Travolta in the same room together.
Oh.
Because you look just like... Are you his brother?
I know. I get that a lot. Well, I get a lot of different things. Man. It depends on the time of day, the time of year, and the environment that I'm in, I get that a lot. Yeah, I get a lot of them. I mean, a lot of different. And you know what it is? It's just the perception that the public has, about that certain images, that the media is pushing, and they see the similarities. I see the similarities. After all, brother, we all come from the same tree.
That's right.
The same rib.
We're all connected, branches from the same tree.
Yeah,
we come from different,
7 steps from Kevin Bacon, isn't it?
There we go.
Yeah, I mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he hasn't got any hair anymore, though, have he? Or he didn't have last time I saw him. Has he grown it back now?
Who's that?
John Travolta.
John Travolta.
I question that myself. I know that he had some issues, and they've done it so well. It's hard to keep track for me, and I live here in LA and Tinseltown. What the actors are doing, and I say the same thing for actresses, female actors, because they're changing to all these characters, and they do things where it blows your mind. I see people when I go up to the valley, that I know it's them, but they look a little heavier. They're in the role. They're doing it, or the hair is different, or it's long and then it's short, and then they got a certain makeup done. So it's amazing, man, to be able to change. You're like a chameleon of sorts when you get all these different roles, So it's hard for me to know, to be honest, what is the reality, the real image. But I do believe he's been wearing. He had some things done to his hair.
Some plugs, is it?
And then I like to add, I look beyond that. That guy. That guy.
I got nothing to do with it.
That cat can look green and be heavy and all that, but what he's been able to accomplish as a human being, as an actor, and what he does to make a difference, he's got all my respect, man.
Sure.
And like a lot of cats like that, there's a lot of people that you really notice are coming out to the forefront to make a difference on the planet now with what's going on in the Eastern Bloc there, sadly. And that's it speaks loudly about who they really are at the core,
Yeah, that's right.
And I could say the same thing for me. I mean, we're lucky, man, that we have the privilege, and the gift to be able to do what we do and make a living off of it. It's like, wow, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm sorry, I got a little deep there.
No, that's cool.
That's all right. That's fine. That's cool.
It's what's going on the planet, and I'm so moved. It's sad and it's mind blowing. It's everything at the same time, But we could talk about music, which is what we need to talk about, I think, and I think the planet needs, without getting too deep, and I know it sounds deep, but the planet needs music more than ever now.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
And this is my little friend Buddy.
Nice.
He's a Chihuahua pug.
Oh, I was going to say he's a bit big for a Chihuahua.
Yeah. He's a handful.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Character, man. He's got his own personality and lets you know when things are not cool.
Yeah.
So he's coming out to get attention because I'm not giving him attention. He's like,
that's it.
I'm here. What are you doing? Talking to these cats,
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
But how are you guys? Where in the UK are you?
So I'm in South Wales. So I am 10 minutes away from the Patriot, where you'll be playing very soon next month.
So close to Cardiff. Close to Cardiff.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah. And Terry's at Crumlin. Go on, sorry. Crumlin.
Crumlin is, if I remember correctly, I played there once a few years back. 17 or 18. It's about 20-minute drive, 25 minutes outside of Cardiff.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a great time, man, there. Amazing. It's one of those memorable gigs, I have a lot of them, but that definitely stands up. We had a blast.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to going back. And Ferry, you are in the same area, or?
No, I'm in Holland.
Oh my gosh.
I'm in the Netherlands, man.
Beautiful. I'm coming there too.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I've just seen it on your tour poster. Well,
yeah.
I was looking at the English one and I was thinking, your British tour, I was thinking, there's no Dutch dates, but then David filled me in on the rest, so...
Yeah, this is what usually happens for me anyway in the past few years is I start in the UK because I have a lot of friends there and people that are interested, fans. And as soon as those dates are announced or confirmed, the rest of Europe starts hitting us up and saying, well, you're going to be here. Why can't you come here? And so even now, right now, believe it or not, Gary, we're adding dates daily.
Okay.
And it's last minute things, but the more the better.
Yeah.
And quite a few in Holland and in Belgium, actually. Yeah. So we're negotiating now with 3 more that might be added by tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
I dig it there too. So I dig it everywhere. Anywhere people are interested in listening to my music and hearing what I have to say, I'm like, I'm there. Thank you so much. Let's go.
Yeah.
Sláinte, I'll drink to that.
Yeah.
Or
Prost. Prost, yeah.
Prost. Yeah, so you got 8 dates in the UK, and then there's 37 dates, which is potentially going to be 40 dates in Europe then.
Yes. And it's looking, there's a few things that I don't want to jinx, but there's a few things remaining from 20. So, the world's plugging back in. And so the promoters and the agents we're working together to try to put things together to make it as logical as it can be logistically. And and the bottom line, man, my single is coming out April 13th. For the new album that was supposed to come out back in 20. So I'm excited about that. So the more dates you do to support that, the more awareness. And then hopefully the second single at the end of May, June, and then the full album in August. We're shooting for that.
Oh, right.
So,
okay.
So I'm excited about that, man. I've been listening we were mixing recently and mastering, and I got to say, without sounding pretentious, there's some good stuff there, man. I'm excited.
Good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So have you got a name? Have you got a name for the new album yet? So I've been looking around the place and I've not been able to find a name for it yet.
Yes, we are believe it or not, we're in the process of, because there's quite a few singles, and the initial title was supposed to be something, and now we're kind of wavering because of the situation of what's going on, to be honest. There's some good titles. But I think we'll announce it. We'll make an official announcement here by next Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
So for the effect situation, but I can tell you guys if you don't tell anybody.
Not before Sunday.
I'm just kidding. No, I can tell you now, but don't tell anybody, right?
No.
How funny is that? It's actually, I'm going to tell you because it's the title of the tour. Take It to the Limit. It's the single that we're going with.
Cool. Okay.
Because there's video in place, all that.
Yeah.
And we were wavering between that and 3 other singles that were really apropos to the situation that we're all in here on the planet. But that'll be the second single.
Okay.
We just need to come out and have some new stuff to create a bit of a buzz. You know how important that is. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I've been listening to your three albums already that you've got out there, and they're awesome, man. I'm absolutely loving it. It's really, really cool. Really cool.
Thank you. Let me ask you something, and be honest. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
Casa Mendoza, what's your impression? And be totally honest, please. I need it.
Oh, it's class. I love it.
Casa Mendoza is very eclectic.
Yeah, it's chill, very chilled. Very chilled album, yeah.
And very eclectic. And I went a little bit out of my comfort zone to be creative. And I listened to it, and in retrospect, you go, wow, that could have been different, and that could have been different. What's happened with me, and I'll be totally honest, with my solo career, is I've been extremely busy with all these major, big projects, right? Mm-hmm. Without naming names, but maybe So most recently, I mean, I did some shows with Journey, and and the Dead Daisies, that was a big commitment. And I did the Journey Through Time project, Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, Ted Nugent, Dolores O'Riordan, and so on and so forth, and so many in between. That the point is that my solo stuff takes a back burner, somewhat. So to try and get things done, the time frame doesn't coincide. So my point is, we're always in a hurry, unfortunately. Yeah. And so I can honestly say, Live for Tomorrow, my first album with Richie Kotzen producing and playing. I had a bunch of cats on that album. I had Ted Nugent, Steve Lukather, Richie Kotzen, of course, Doug Aldridge. On drums, I had Tommy Aldridge and Brian Tichy. I had, and my son playing bass too, Marco. We did it in 15 days, top to bottom, 15 days. I'm thinking, what the hell were we thinking? 50, come on, 50, you need 3 or 4 days to bake a good cake,
Yeah.
But we did it, and we put it out, and what it did, it got me on the radar as a solo artist, which is great. And then the second album, I was in and out of town, and we come home and we write a couple of songs. We have the drummer play, and then we have the keyboard play, and then I leave, and then we come back and play the guitar player. So that one took a little longer, but it was very, what's the word? It was intermittent, disjointed. Yeah. It was like there's no continuity. Yeah. And I hear the album, and you can hear it.
Okay.
In the album. From that point on, I learned my lesson, and I told, when the opportunity for the next album for Viva La Rock came, I told my friend and producer, Soren Anderson, songwriter, extraordinary engineer, he does it all. Let's just get together and do it, man. Take our time.
Yeah.
So that was the plan. Then when the time came, he was busy, I was busy, so we had 12 days.
Okay. So even less than the first one.
Yes. 12 days, and I talk about it because that's the point that I'm trying to make. Unfortunately, time is of the essence when you do things, when you're recording stuff. But what we did capture, as we recorded the rhythm tracks, guitar, bass, and drums collectively together as much as we could. And and it's that album I'm mostly proud of because it's got a continuity.
Yeah.
They're all connected. And it's all Soren playing on 90% of the guitars. And then I had Richard Fortus from Guns N' Roses and the Dead Daisies come and play. It's all good, man. I'm very proud of that album. Well, this album, which is where I was trying to make that point, this album has even more continuity. We took a little more time, and I'm really proud of it. So hopefully it'll get the response that I'm hoping for.
Did you sort of balance it out and aim for 14 days this time?
Well,
13 and 15, let's go for the middle.
I know. No, it was, well, to be honest, we got together for 3 days, 4 days. We did all the writing, most of the writing. And then I left on tour, he left on tour. And then we came back 2 months later and we wrote some more songs, finished the album. We had the rhythm tracks pretty much done. And then the pandemic hit.
Okay.
Unfortunately. And I was actually there back in 21, in September of 21, finishing some vocals.
Okay.
In Copenhagen. This is in Copenhagen, by the way.
Right. Okay.
He's got a beautiful studio there that his partners and him put together. It's state of the art. It's called Medley Studios. Amazing environment. Him and I just have a blast there. So anybody in the area or in Europe or anywhere, I would consider that studio, man. Go to medleystudios.com. Ask for Soren Anderson.
Okay.
Great stuff. Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. but it's true. You know, I plug things that I really believe in. If I experience it, you know, it's a thing, because you want to share a good thing with the community, the musical community. So, and there's a lot of projects that are always looking for the right environment and the right situation, the right combination of you know, things to come out with the best product possible.
Yeah.
So.
But do you play fretless bass? Oh, sorry.
Do I play
fretless?
Do I play fretless? Yes, I have to say, fretless. I still consider myself fretless is my main instrument. Yes.
Okay.
Fretless. I actually been picking it up more and more, because I'm going to try and incorporate it into this next run, because I started missing it so much. I've been listening to. From time to time, I do a jazz fusion project, whatever you want to call it, if we have to label it. Very eclectic, reminiscent of Casa Mendoza, actually.
Okay.
And that, you know, and it's exclusive fretless. I have this fretless six-string fretless that was built for me, and it's one of a kind. And I have a love affair with it. It's like an old pair of shoes, to be honest.
Yeah.
If I may use that. You just pick it up and it's like there, because it was built for me with my specs, my weight, the electronics, Bartolini electronics, TCT preamp, and it's been around for years. So occasionally I get to use it on sessions and all that. But what happened is, when I first came to LA back in 88, 89, when I got sober again, I got serious about the privilege and the gift of playing music, I started playing fretless more and more and more. And that's what kind of got me noticed, to be honest. It got me a lot of work, a lot of session work. John Sykes, to speak of, came in to hear me play. I was playing with my trio in LA, and the Blue Murder album had come out, and I was a big fan of it. I'm a fretless player, and I love Tony Franklin's bass playing. And he was looking, something happened. Let's just say they went their separate ways, and he was looking to replace Tony Franklin, and he needed a fretless bass player. And he came in, we met, and boom, the rest is history. I ended up on the next album. You know. So, cool. So that got me even more on the map. And then I started getting a lot of sessions and requests to play there and that and all that. So, I play fretless. Whenever I can, I do. But for the most part, the producers and the artists have a different vision of what they want to hear bass-wise. So, so there's a few, at any given session, I will walk in with 2 or 3 basses, and they always revert to, to the fretted bass. Always. And I understand. I get it. Fretless has a very, very unique tone and sound to it, and voice to it, that if it's mixed right and if it's put in the right place, it adds so much. But not everybody can understand that. I'll use Pino Palladino as an example. I'm a big fan of his, but if you listen to all the session work that he's done, and the stuff that he did way back, it's just beautiful, man. It's just gorgeous stuff. Fretless is, it's like the extension of a cello, very expressive. Very, very expressive and dynamic, which I dig.
I would relate it to a double bass rather than a cello.
Yes. Do you play?
I did play when I was really a lot younger, but I don't play anymore.
I saw you do that, and I knew you played. That's it.
I did actually learn to play double bass, but when I was a kid.
I did too for a minute, and I thought I was going to get serious about it, and then I had a situation with my, it's a long story, but my second ex-wife, and let's just say we were in the heat of an argument, and she knew how to get to me and broke it to pieces.
Oh dear.
She took it to the limit.
She took it to the limit, like we all should do. We should take things always to the limit. Push it as hard as we can. Get to the edge. And if you decide to jump into the abyss, go for it. Because you'll never find out what's in the abyss if you don't jump.
That's right.
So
I think that's a famous song by the Eagles, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, take it to the limit.
Absolutely. That's all about that, isn't it?
Absolutely. But and that's I really believe life should be lived like that. We should always have that in mind. And when we think it's over, it's not over, man. There's always room for improvement and wiggle room. I call it wiggle room. There's always wiggle room. You can go left or right, up or down, in or out. And it's, if you really pay attention, there's always that wiggle room there.
Yeah. You touched on something earlier then, because you said about getting sober when it was 1987.
1987.
You're roughly the same age as me, so you were pretty young when you started then.
So we're 49 in holding, right?
Yeah,
55 in holding, yeah. I was young. I had a terrible time with getting addicted to alcohol, drugs, and everything else I could get addicted to. Yeah. In the business, I jumped into the business at 16 years old, and there's no manual to kind of, that prepares you for what's coming.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the road's there with everything that comes with it. And I have an addictive personality. I admit to it today, and I have to watch myself, keep myself in check. But now I use it to do positive things. I'm addicted to positive things. So it works. Like work, for example. I love to work. I love what I'm doing this. I love to be creative, to keep moving forward. And so it reflects sometimes. But yeah, let's just say I got addicted, and I can talk about it. I got addicted to heroin and cocaine addiction, IV. Okay. And it was pretty tremendous, pretty bad. Yeah. And I lost all connections with the music community, and I lost every opportunity because I was just terrifying everybody. Yeah. I would they were hiring me, call me, and I would either not show up or show up unprepared or show up all loaded and make a mess of situations. So pretty soon you burn all these bridges. Yeah. And like the Thin Lizzy song, you got a bad reputation in the music world. And so it stopped, and then I went into the spiraling to the worst place you can imagine, and that's a conversation in itself. But I can imagine. Let's just say I had a very extremely low bottom, and I was given the opportunity, thank God, to come out and get my life in order. That's when I realized how important music was for me, and what a privilege and what a gift it was, and still is. And I started, taking care of it like that. So that's when everything started changing for me, my life and my career, and everything's been.
Well, luckily for us, as music fans,
thank you, brother.
That you came out of the other side. So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of us, to be honest. There's a lot of us from my generation that got lucky enough and got to learn the lessons out there, and came the other way. So September 20th, 1987, at 3:00 is my sobriety date. Oh, okay. So if I make it September 20th this year, it will be 35 years. Awesome. September 20th at 3:00, hopefully I'll be somewhere celebrating.
Yeah.
And
not with a drink.
No, with a glass of water, soda water, Coca-Cola, or
big magnum of champagne.
Yeah, that's a funny story. That's a joke between us sober cats, because we go to meetings and all that whenever we can, and it's like, after you hit 5 years, you're entitled to go out there and drink and do everything for one night.
Yeah.
And it's a joke, because the reality is you can't.
No, I know.
Because this is how it is, Terry, for me. If I have a drink of champagne for New Year's Eve, let's say this year, like my wife, she'll have a glass of wine occasionally. We go out to dinner with friends, and there's beautiful bottles of wine being opened and served. And if I decide to have that champagne or that glass of wine or that beer, I have to start all over.
Yeah, for sure.
If I want to be honest with myself, I'll throw away 34 plus years of sobriety and start all over. And the most dangerous part is I'll set myself up to have 2 glasses of wine next week.
Yeah, that's it.
And a bottle the week after. Yeah. And what are we going to do to balance the alcohol is, let's do a bump. Let's do a line of blow. Yeah. And then, a bottle of wine, line of blow. Why not go all the way?
Take it to the limit again.
Take it to the limit. That's how it works. So it's with great care and awareness and fear of going back to where I was. And not to sound pretentious, but I have a beautiful life. I have a beautiful wife, family, kids, career. I'm in a real good place. Even going through this pandemic, I'm really grateful. I call it the attitude of gratitude. And I would throw all that away for that
drink.
Glass for one drink. And one drink is not going to be enough. I know
exactly.
that.
Yeah, that's it.
But is it worth it? It's not worth it, is it?
No. It's not because I don't know about anybody else, and it's not my business, and I don't mean to be judgmental in any way. But I used to drink to get buzzed, man. I was never a wine connoisseur. I never appreciated a beautiful bottle of scotch. You know, I thought I did. You know, I used to take pride in opening bottles of Courvoisier and make sure everybody knew, you know, some of the best cognac on the planet, you know, and Martell, and all this. And I would make sure that I'd get the best blow and the best smack. And it's insanity, man. But at the core of it, I was running away from myself. I couldn't live in my own skin. And that's another interview that, you know, when the time comes, if it comes, I would love to get into, because right now there's a pandemic with opiates being abused.
In America,
Big time, man. And it's really sad. A lot of teenagers are jumping in. And I have 2 teenagers right now. Okay. So I'm very much aware. We pay attention to what's going on. But so, yeah, man, it's one of those things. I drink to get a buzz. And I used to do drugs to get a buzz. It's not like, you know, and I would always cross the line. You know, you can't measure where you want to be because you're always guessing, you know. Mood wise. So,
for sure,
so it got out of hand, and I'm glad I'm out of it. And I'm in a real good place because sobriety, because I'm sober. Bottom line. You know.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, we'll make sure we celebrate with you with a glass of water on the 20th of September.
Yes, we will.
That would be cool.
Or
that
a
would be awesome.
drink or something.
Yes, I do those. I do those too. I love milk. I'm trying to cut down on it. I love milk. Cookies and milk, man. This is a funny thing. So, and I won't say who with, but let's just say, you know, after the biggest show you can imagine, and it's all flying in, there's media and press and the whole thing. And then you go to the bar and you get an interview and the whole thing, and the guys are ordering this. Let me have a triple Jaeger, and let me have a bottle of scotch, and let me have a bottle of Dom Perignon or Cristal. And then it comes to me, it's like, can I have a glass of milk and some cookies, please? you can imagine the reaction.
Yeah, the look.
It's like, you know, it's you know, I take the brunt of the joke and the whole thing. Everybody thinks it's funny, and that's fine. But then if people are interested, I'll tell them my story sometimes. You know.
Yeah, that's cool.
I had the hardest time in Italy. The hardest time in Italy because we'd go to these beautiful dinners, and wine is such a big part of their social.
Yeah, the social culture. Yeah,
culture there. That you know, the host or hostess would bring this bottle that's, you know, so old, and they're talking about the grape and all this, and everybody would indulge. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't drink. And they would get insulted.
Yeah.
Literally, like, whoa, who are you? What did you know? And then I would have to take them aside and say, can we have a word? And I explain, and then they get it, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, the idea that alcohol can be abused, like I was abusing it, is just beyond their comprehension. They don't, you know, so I get it. But we're twisted. We're twisted here in the U.S.
Well, also in the UK.
Yeah, I think so.
I think more so in the U.S.
I don't know, because they've got a really weird drinking culture in the UK, because the bars, go back to the old days when I was growing up, the bars used to close on a Saturday afternoon, you know, pubs. Yeah. So they would open at 11 in the morning on a Saturday, close at 2.
Wow.
You know, so then you'd be getting drunk by 2, then you'd like sleep it off for 3 hours because they open again at 5, but then they shut at 11. You know,
so you try to put them in.
Just caning it, and then everybody's trying to get drunk, and it's a big
culture over here, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah,
you know, and then go on.
And it's beautiful. I mean, I have a lot of buddies, as you can imagine. I've been going to the UK for the longest time. It's part of the culture there. And there's a lot of folks that respect it and they maintain it. And it is what it is. You know, they'll show up and be responsible and be productive and take care of business and all that. But I'm the exception to that. There's people out there that don't know how to manage it. And so that we end up in, in the doors of hell, pretty much. You know, because we can't do it. So I call it losing the privilege.
Yeah.
Responsible human means understand it and that it's a privilege and they manage it and they take care of business and all that. Yeah. People like me, we have such a heavy addictive personality that we can't manage it. Yeah. We don't have the tools. So if we like something really good, we want more and more. Yeah. You know, so we want to take it to the limit. Yeah, that's right. Without hurting ourselves, and we end up hurting ourselves, you know. So
that's the trouble, isn't it?
It is.
Great conversation, guys.
Yeah, cool. So if we could take it back to the music for a little bit,
yes, sir. Please.
Because obviously you're a renowned bassist. Have you always sung? So obviously when you started coming out with your solo stuff, I know, I'm aware that you were doing backing vocals and things like that previously. Kind of like what was the decision that made you come, not from behind the bass, but to come center stage really vocally? Yeah.
When I started playing music with my brother. My dad made sure we had amps around and instruments, and my brother went for the drums, so he was a drummer. I was a guitar player, rhythm guitar, a little bit of lead here and there, and there was no singers, so somebody had to sing. My brother sang a little bit, but I sang a little bit more. You got to have that ham thing, that look at me. You kind of want to get attention to some extent. And that was me. I was the middle child. It was like, notice me, please, somebody. And so I started singing way back. Okay. I don't know how good or how bad or whatever. I just know I was singing. And then we had a bass player brother and a lead guitar player. So it was two brothers and two brothers. And we started covering songs. Back in the day, it was CCR. They were on the radio big time. And this is Mexico. I'm in Mexico.
Okay.
And so we started doing a lot of covers in order to, to get better. And CCR was great. So I started singing a lot of those songs. Between me and the bass player and the guitar player would sing most of them. So I started singing way back, and I really enjoyed it. Again, I don't know how good or bad or whatever. But then I got approached by another garage band that was further up along. They were doing school dances, they were doing parties, and they had their own van, and they had their own PA, and it was like definitely a step up. Their bass player left town, and I got approached by them saying, "Hey, we need somebody to play bass and sing. Okay. And are you interested?" I said, "Absolutely." So they gave me 5-6 songs, I think, I don't remember, to learn, and I auditioned and I got the gig. So I went from guitar to bass playing and singing. That's when I came across a lot of walls. It was really hard. The rhythm guitar for me came naturally. The strumming, the whole thing, downstrokes, upstrokes, both. The bass playing became very intricate for me. It was new, and then I had to still sing. So I think I started, because I get asked that question a lot. How do you play and sing together? And there are a lot of syncopation, all that. It's just something that you work at it, I tell people, bass players that want to sing, start very simple, very simple. So a lot of the songs that I was singing were CCR, John Fogerty, and the bass playing was very on the groove, on the downbeat. So that was cool. But then we started getting to Grand Funk Railroad. We started getting into Allman Brothers Band. We started getting to Ted Nugent. We started getting to the Beatles and all that. It was a lot of practice, man, a lot of practice. But back to your question, the singing has always been part of my thing.
Yeah.
And at one point I thought that that was going to be my thing. I had a trio, like a Latin jazz funk trio. If you go in there, Marco Mendoza jazz band or whatever, there's some YouTube things out there where I put it together specifically for that, so that I could sing and play and be the front guy. Yeah. And I surrounded myself with the best musicians I could get here in LA, and there's a lot of them here.
Yeah.
So I ended up with Renato Neto, who ended up playing with Prince for years, and Joey Heredia, who's all over the place too, with Sheila E. and Stevie Wonder, and you played with Tower Power. He's one of those drummers that's just insane. And we had a vibe. So yeah, the singing, back to your question, I know I'm circling.
That's cool.
The vocal thing has always been a part. And I always tell bass players, even my son right now, I always try to encourage him to learn to sing anything, because it's been my experience that most of the gigs I got, I would say 90% of the gigs and the invitations to be part of to collaborate, was because I could sing background vocals.
Oh, right.
There's always a lead singer that's there, and that, having the ability to sing BVs and to sing it all is a plus.
Yeah.
So they would consider you before they would consider somebody that's just not just playing bass. There's some amazing artists out there, but so it's a plus. It's another feather in your cap, and so man, and it's a lot of fun, because for me as a vocalist, it connects me more deeply into the song, the music, because I have to learn the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
And so one thing helps the other, and it's the full package. But so when the opportunity to do a solo thing came up, obviously that was it. I got approached by Serafino Perugino. I was touring with Whitesnake, and I got to do some songs with David, some duets, purple duets, the Glenn Hughes parts.
Yeah.
And they saw me in London one time, and they requested a meeting, and we had a meeting. And said, we think you should do a solo thing.
Oh, cool.
And they convinced me. It took 1.5 years, 2 years almost, and we did it. And I realized, wow, this is a blast.
Yeah.
Big responsibility, but it's a blast.
Yeah.
And I always like to tell myself, I love to sing. I'm not the quintessential singer, I love to sing, and I love to deliver a message, get into the lyrics of song, but I do it sometimes out of necessity.
Yeah.
With my solo stuff.
Yeah.
When you bring a fourth and fifth person into the whole mix, it changes the dynamic and the whole thing, big time. Yeah. And so it's really easy, man. It's really portable. It's a 3-piece. We go out there, we have a blast. And sometimes I have the boys. I also try to insist that my players sing.
Okay.
So we have the BVs covered. And then occasionally I say, I'm a little fried, like I get fried from time to time. Take it away, hey, sing a song. And it's great. So it's a fun thing,
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a responsibility. You kind of need to take care of yourself in a different way.
Yeah.
The voice is a muscle, like everything. It gets tired, and as we get older, it changes, and you have to take care of it. There's a lot of things you need to do.
You take care of your bass. Why not take care of your voice?
Yeah, that's it.
That's right.
That's it. But I gotta say, even recently, I did a show with 104 fever, and I had pneumonia, bronchitis. And I went out there and pulled it off somehow.
Yeah.
And there was very little voice. Somehow the adrenaline kicks in, the lights go on, the audience is there. Sometimes you just make it work.
Yeah.
It's not my first choice, but it's all about music. It's all about in the bigger picture, guys. I think it's all about the entertainment value, the connection with the audience, with your friends, with your fans. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things I really try to do immediately. I try to break that wall between the audience and after all, it's a party, man. It's a big party. Let's have a party tonight. And you're the biggest part of it. Yeah. And so join us. Let's take you on a little ride. Jump on the train,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've also been reading up on you. And checking out your Facebook. And
yes, sir.
Iconic.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a new project that you're working on, and you're looking to release a single next month, I believe, and an album later in the summer.
Yes, that's the schedule. Iconic. Speaking of singers. Oh gosh, I have to plug my computer. So sorry. speaking of singers, and Nathan James. My gosh.
Yeah.
Michael Sweet. Jeez.
Yeah.
And Joel Hoekstra, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorites of all time, a brother of mine, I love him to death. Not only his playing, but who he is as a human being, Tommy Aldridge on drums. How can you say no, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I'm going to have to plug the computer in. I apologize. You guys can edit this,
That's
right?
no worries, man.
No problem.
Well, we were only told 45 minutes, and we've been speaking for 45 minutes.
Yeah. I'll just plug it in and recharge it. I'm getting into the house. Look at the weather, man.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
So you tell us definitely not Wales.
California, it's just beautiful. I have to plug in battery. Yeah. So let me turn the light on and plug it. I usually plug it in earlier, but I've been using the computer a lot. A lot of interviews.
Yeah. Well, we're going over anyway, so.
Back to back. So here we are. We're indoors. So how you doing?
You don't mind going over?
Hold on.
Marco?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
I said you don't mind going over then?
No.
Okay, cool.
We have time. I think you're my last.
Oh God, we'll
cool.
be here all night.
Sorry to say that. It just came out, but it's true. I'll be, Wes is keeping me busy, man.
Yeah, good.
So
that's what PR. That's what your PR manager's for.
That's what you want, don't it? That's what you want.
Absolutely, because of the time difference, also.
Yeah.
So we start very earlier than I care to, but we got to do it. So iconic.
Yeah.
Your question was, speaking of singers, geez,
Well, yeah, you got plenty. Like you said before, you got a wide choice of singers in that band, really, haven't you? So is Nathan doing all the vocals on that, or are you going to do some of the vocals?
Nathan and Michael.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the story from what I know, because how it came about. And I am trying to actually try to be involved on the lead vocal side of things right now, as much as I can. But which is why my solo thing is there. But I got a call from Frontiers at the beginning of 21, or maybe at the end of 20. I'm trying to remember. Those 2 years it's a haze, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was Frontiers. It was Mario and my friend Serafino there. They said, we have some guys. We have Joe and Michael Sweet and Nathan that are doing a project. They don't have a rhythm section. Would you be interested in participating, collaborating, and all that? And of course, immediately you hear names like that, your friends, people you admire and you respect so much. And I'm like, absolutely, especially there was not a whole lot going on, pandemic, you can imagine.
Yeah.
I did a lot of recording. And so let's just say 2-3 months went by, logistics, time zone, whatever. And then I get the call. So we're moving forward. The guys are getting together. They're writing the music together with Alex Del Vecchio, who's amazing. He's an artist, a great artist on his own, and songwriter, producer. And so the guys want to know, are you interested? I said, absolutely. So I signed up. Then 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks come up or go by. And then I get a call again and said, well, great. The guys are happy. You're participating. We still don't have a drummer. Who would you like to maybe consider or suggest? And I said, well, every time I think of, I heard the genre of music that we were going for, the direction the music was going in. Immediately, I thought of Tommy, Tommy. And I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of drummers that are like the cream of the crop, amazing. And but Tommy came into mind, and I called him and I said, would you be interested? And he was immediately interested, and we connected the dots. The next thing you know, we're recording the music. A year goes by, and then it's coming together now that things are moving forward really fast.
Okay.
So as far as the singing, it's Nathan James, and I've heard it. I don't know if you guys have. You heard some bits and pieces, maybe?
Little bits, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Nathan, man, he's at the peak of his singing abilities. Man, he's amazing, mind blowing, and he's such a beautiful bloke. I can say bloke. He is. He's a beautiful cat, man. We got to hang during the video shoot, and the chemistry between all of us was just beautiful. It was really relaxed, and there's a lot of mutual respect. And so Nathan is doing, I would say 50, 60% of the vocals. And then Michael, who's also an amazing singer. We know him from Striper, and who I'd never met. I mean, we met in festivals, but we never got to hang. And I got to meet him and his wife, Lisa, and they're beautiful people. And then his playing, Michael's just amazing. So you have two amazing guitar players, two amazing singers, and then you got Tommy on the drums. And somehow I snuck in there to do my.
Yeah, right.
So I got in there, and I gotta say, it's very special, man. Very special music, and I think if it's managed right and if it's handled right, people are gonna notice. And so we're excited about it. Having said that, it is the music business. We are coming out of the pandemic. Things are not, in my opinion, I'm hoping that things go back to normal.
Yeah.
But the reality is that we're going to have a hard time getting there, back to whatever normal is. So you have to consider all these things, So we'll see. And then everybody's got prior commitments with some big projects, huge.
Yeah.
So
sure, yeah.
I'm hoping that we all at some point decide to take it out and play and tour and all that.
Yeah.
We just don't know when or how, but I think it's going to happen.
Okay.
The usual process as you release the music, the single, and see what kind of response it gets.
Yeah.
And then you involve the agents and managers and all that to kind of take it. But I heard it, man. It's amazing. It's an amazing album. I'm really happy to be part of it. I'm honored to be playing with those cats, to be honest. It's very, very, very cool. Awesome. It's rock and roll at its best, if I may.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So, and that's coming out. So, is the first single coming out in April? Is that correct? Because that's what was announced on Facebook, wasn't it?
That was announced, and I think it's official. But I would resource to this. I would kind of check the source of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not going to clash with your own single, is it?
I've been there before, and it's these things are funny, man. The labels have their agendas, right? The record labels have their agendas, they have their budgets, they have their thing, and sometimes the artists, we have very little say in what happens. Unfortunately, they have to take care of their business. We take care of our business. We turn the music in, and then they have to make a plan of what happens when. And the last album, Viva La Rock, came out with great reviews. People were excited. The response was over the top. I was excited. I was surprised. That came out in February of 2018. And then we released the biggest album that Dead Daisies ever released in April.
Yeah.
So, David and Goliath.
Yeah.
Boom. Here's David doing his little thing, and Goliath comes in, and it disappeared pretty much. Yeah. So then I got approached by the label, say, when do you have time to do interviews, to go out and play and all that? So we organized, but there was very little support behind that album in 2018. Maybe 2 weeks here and a week there, not enough. So 2019, when the Dead Daisies went into hiatus, the end of 2019, we were looking for a new singer. I got invited everywhere, and that's when I really ran with the ball. And I must have done a ton of shows everywhere, all over, the US, Europe, Asia. I ended up playing it. I don't know how popular it is right now, probably not politically, but I ended up doing shows at the Kremlin, which is amazing, and Japan. So the word got out, and the album got great reviews. The shows got great reviews. So 20, it was going to be the culmination of all that work. You plant the seeds, the trees are coming out, there's fruit coming, and then somebody comes and chops it off at the root. The pandemic hit, and so what we're doing now is the result of what's left. We're coming back. My agent is back in, Michael Thiessen from Schubert Music. who's doing a brilliant job of trying to put the pieces together with all his people. And we're going to get behind the album. He heard the album and he got excited, which means a lot to me. He says, Marco, this is a great album. I'm going, I got chills, because at the core of all of it, you guys, it's all about the music, right?
Yeah,
it's all about, at the essence of it all, there's business and there's this and there's promotion and marketing and the whole thing. But if the music is not happening.
Yeah. You're dead in the water.
So yeah, thank you. I can try and say it right. You're dead in the water. You know what I mean? Is that even close, David?
Yeah, you spent time in London, I think.
Yeah.
Alongside.
Yeah, you wait till you come back to Crumlin. We'll teach you how to say it properly.
I've been through the whole process. I've been going there since 89 or 90 to UK. And I went there first time. I don't know, John Sykes, everybody knows. I went there with John. And we were doing the Thin Lizzy thing, maybe later, 90, 91, 92. No, it was Blue Murder. So it must have been earlier, yeah. And he took me to Blackpool for the first time. You know, that's where he grew up. He's from Blackpool. So you can imagine that the dialect, the accent, the whole thing. I'm like, I'm having to look at people talking to try to fast forward, right? And I spent a lot of time in Northern Ireland and Belfast and Dublin and all that with the Thin Lizzy camp. I spent a lot of years. So fast forward, I went through that whole thing, 33 and a third.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you know what I mean? And thunder and lightning. And very cool. So I'm into languages. I really love getting into it for some reason, phonetically,
Yeah.
So then fast forward, I got to meet Dolores O'Riordan from Limerick. And now you're talking extreme Southern Ireland accent. And I'm like, what? So I learned how to listen closely, to stop the brain and kind of break it down and look at the mouth. And so phonetically, I was connecting more and more. She ended up, it's sad what happened to her. She was a very special person in my life, in our family's life. And we connected in such a deep way. And it's sad what happened. But she left her legacy, and she left some great music. And we did 2 solo albums with her. Are You Listening? And No Baggage, another plug. And then we started on the 3rd. We disconnected, something happened, and then she had that accident. It's sad, She's greatly missed, big time. But anyway, accents and dialects and the whole thing, it's a trip. Coming from Mexico, bro, I started learning English phonetically as well. I grew up in a bilingual, bicultural home, so we call it Spanglish. I know it's a funny term.
That's right,
It's a funny term, but that's where it came from. It came from the border town. The border town of Mexico and the U.S. and Tijuana is one of the biggest ones, So we came up with our own little sayings and phrases and slang and all that, Spanglish. So I learned how to listen to languages and kind of pick it up,
we got the same in Wales. We call it Wenglish.
Wenglish,
we've got exactly the same. So there's, because like our type, obviously the name of our podcast is Just Chopsing, and we've interviewed a few guys, from over the border in England, and they don't know what chopsing is. So and it's just having we're just having a chat. So if you meet somebody, you're having a bit of a chat, a bit of a chops. But if you're chopsy, you're talking. Yeah, you could be having a bit of an argument as well. So if it's, do you know what I mean? So it can be sort of taken in a couple of ways in Wales.
Yeah, Fuel is a little club there.
Yeah,
Fuel. In Cardiff. Yeah, it's a nice little venue.
And what's the bigger one that I played? Anyway, there's been so many. But
did you ever play up Steelhouse?
I guess, definitely.
Yeah, I said to Terry, you probably played up in Steelhouse.
With the Daisies, yes. And I've been I'm going to try, if you have any contacts there, I'm trying to reach out to try and have my agent hook me up so I can play there with my solo thing, if at all possible.
Okay, cool.
If you have any contacts. Maybe after we're done, I can share my info with you guys.
Yeah, it's two guys that run it,
And I think I was invited back in 20 again at the beginning when, the album started getting what we got on the radar. And I think it was part of it. I was invited. But I'm not sure. There were so many festivals I got invited to participate in, and it didn't happen. So we're trying to pick up the pieces, but we're doing a few this year. Up in Scotland, and we were there last year at what's it called? Oh my God, I went blank. In just outside of Cardiff, the big one.
In Cardiff?
Yeah, outside by the ocean. It's a big festival. Anyway, I did it, and it was
Rockstock.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Come on, Dave.
Yeah. That's a big one. You were there?
Yeah. Well, I don't think of Porthcawl being on the ocean. It's more of a like a
dump,
an estuary, to be honest.
Well, I see water, and in my head, like we live here by the beach. It's by the ocean,
It's definitely a different color of ocean to what you're used to. That looks like chocolate milkshake.
Yeah. But it was a great experience. We had a blast. It was slamming, man. So many people singing your songs. They know the lyrics. It was a blast, and they had a little thing going there. But back to languages. I'm very curious about Gaelic. Where does it stop, and how does it affect the folks there in Wales? This is another interview. I'm sorry, but I'm very curious. Back into history, where did it come from? I know it came from the north, but at what time did it mix? Because you have your own dialect.
Wales has its own language.
Yeah, we got our own language. Yeah.
But it's very similar, correct?
No.
Not
at all.
No,
it's not.
So. No.
In my mind, I see it the way it's written, and I'm trying to figure out. We speak Latin, Mexican, Spanish, right? So the vowels are the same, I, A, E, O, U, and you have the same. So yeah, very interesting, man. I've never jumped into that one, but maybe I will soon, just to get some more info. Very interesting. I love history too.
Okay.
Yeah.
How we all came from, where we came from, and then as far as music too, if you go back, music's been a big part of the world evolving, and it's a trip. We're getting into deep issues now.
Yeah. We have to plan another interview.
Definitely.
Let's do it. It's interesting stuff to me. I can talk forever. You can tell.
Yeah, cool.
But,
That's cool.
So Iconic is a great project. We're hoping that that it's well received, and then we can go out and bring it to the people, because it should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes.
Cool. So we could see you a couple of times then, hopefully.
Hopefully. I know I'm planning to come back. This is put together because I was going to be at the UK-based guitar show. And again, I said, well, I'm flying all the way. I'm going to be there. I have my guys ready. Let's get some feelers out and see if anybody wants you to play. And that's what happens, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's not like I have an agenda, going back to that. I don't have an agenda, never. I should. That's what agents are for, and labels are for, to organize you. But that's who I've been, man, the whole time. It's like, let's just feel it out, make a few phone calls. Yeah. And I have my friend, a dear friend, making the calls and organizing it. Boom, people were interested. So that's how that came about. And then the rest in Europe is the same thing. After you've been around for 85 years in the business, you make a lot. You make a lot of contacts. You know a lot of people, and people that really appreciate what you're doing and who you are, and they want to support it. And so it's one thing, one thing helps the other, and it's all cool. Like you guys, I have to say that, and I always like to say, the journalists are the glue between the fans and the music.
We're not journalists, mate.
We're
fans.
We're real fans. We're very, just.
Well, that's great, but we're doing a journalistic thing. Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, so that's what I say. I mean, you are. Yeah, I mean, we're all fans. I'm still a fan, bro. And I could do interviews. I would love to talk to. There's so many cats. I mean, you can tell I would have so many questions to get in. But for all intended purposes, you guys are the connection. You connect this in a bigger way. You bring awareness, and it's very important, especially now with social media.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. I appreciate this, you guys, all of you guys, being part of this because it's important. It's very important.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Marco.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
My
you.
hat's off.
Doff your cap.
Slanja. Prost. What's the other one?
Yaki da.
Yaki da.
Yaki da. Yaki da. Thank you, man.
Thank you, yeah. All right, mate. So we've already gone way over, so we'll let you get off.
That's fine. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And it was great to speak to you, and I hope we can speak to you again, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'll catch you on the 7th of April.
Please do.
Yeah, I will.
If you want to stop, I can give you my info, and so we can stay in touch.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll say goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay. Adios.
Yeah.
Adios.
Thanks, Marco.
Cheers.
See you soon. Yeah.
bottle of rock and all that comes with it. You know what I'm talking about. Enjoy. Viva.